Let's be brutally honest for a second. If you're defending yourself, explaining, justifying, clarifying, you're not in control. You're reacting. And in the ruthless game of power, reaction is weakness. You've already let someone else write the script, and now you're just trying to edit it while the ink is still wet. Sound harsh? Good, because the truth usually is. Machiavelli didn't believe in playing fair. He believed in winning, not through brute strength, but through psychological warfare, through control of appearances, perception, and narrative. And nothing destroys your standing faster than looking guilty, insecure, or unsure. That's exactly what defending yourself communicates. Imagine someone throws an accusation your way, maybe in public, maybe in a meeting, or even online. What's your gut instinct? Most people rush to defend themselves. Wait, that's not true. Let me explain. You don't understand what really happened. Congratulations. You just admitted that their version of the story matters more than yours. When you defend, you validate. You signal that the accusation is important enough to merit a response, that their frame, not yours, is the default. And in that moment, even if you're telling the truth, you lose the most valuable asset in any power dynamic: authority. Machiavelli understood this. He knew that truth is often irrelevant in the face of power. People don't rally around what's real. They rally around what's believable, what feels confident, what sounds decisive. Defending yourself is the opposite of that. We've been sold a myth that good people defend themselves and bad people attack. That if you're honest and righteous, you'll just calmly explain and everything will sort itself out. But real life doesn't work like that. Ever watch someone defend themselves against gossip? They look desperate, emotional, weak. Now picture someone who says nothing, or worse, smiles, shrugs, and walks away without blinking. People lean in, they wonder, they question the accuser. Silence, when done right, is louder than any defense. That's power. Machiavelli's advice is simple, sharp, and devastatingly effective. Flip the script. Not with loud declarations or frantic explanations, but with calm, deliberate reframing. He understood that the battle for power is rarely about truth. It's about who controls the story. And in that story, the moment you start defending yourself, you accept someone else's version of events. You give their narrative life. You validate it. But reframing changes everything. Instead of meeting an accusation head-on, you absorb it without resistance and reshape its meaning. You don't deny it, and you certainly don't apologize for it. You redefine it. You take what was meant to diminish you and turn it into a mark of strength, style, or strategy. It's not about dodging blame. It's about making the accusation irrelevant, powerless. This move shifts the balance in the room. Where others see an attack, you see an opportunity to expose the fragility of your critic. Their complaint begins to sound like insecurity. Their attempt to wound you becomes a reflection of their own discomfort with strength. Instead of shrinking, you expand. People notice that. They notice when someone doesn't flinch, when someone refuses to explain themselves. And they remember it, because that kind of stillness radiates something we all crave: certainty, presence, command. And the best part? You do it all without ever raising your voice or engaging in the messy business of trying to prove someone wrong. You don't need to win an argument. You've already won the moment you show you're not even playing their game. The urge to defend comes from a primal place. We want to be understood. We want to be liked. We want to be seen as good. But Machiavelli would laugh at that. In his world, being seen as good was a strategic tool, not a personal need. The moment you chase understanding, you give away leverage. You start performing for approval. And trust this, the moment you seek approval, you become predictable and manipulable. That's why people who can sit in discomfort, who can smile while being misunderstood, rise. Because most can't, most fold. There's something hypnotic about people who don't explain themselves. Think about it. The leader who never responds to criticism, the artist who lets their work speak for itself, the entrepreneur who takes risks without apology, the politician who refuses to answer the trap question. You may not like them, but you watch them. That's Machiavellian power, bending perception without uttering a single word of defense. It creates mystique. It invites curiosity. It keeps others off balance. And when people are off balance, they're easier to control. Let's bring this home with an example. A mid-level manager, let's call her Laura, is accused in a meeting of playing office politics. One of her colleagues implies she's cozying up to the new VP to secure a promotion. Most people would panic. Laura doesn't. She looks up, smiles lightly, and says, "Sounds like someone's worried about the competition." That's it. No explanation. No awkward rambling. Just a confident pivot that puts the spotlight right back on the accuser. Suddenly, the question isn't, is Laura manipulative? It's, why is this guy so threatened? The dynamic shifts instantly. That's the Machiavellian move. Here's the kicker. Even if you did the thing they're accusing you of, don't defend. Confessing out of guilt only empowers those who want to use your mistake against you. Instead, redirect. Say, "I do what needs to be done." Or that's how results are made. Or even better, "I'll take that risk again if it gets the job done." You don't need to convince people you're innocent. You need to convince them you're in control. And if you're truly smart, you won't even talk about the accusation. You'll change the entire subject successfully by doing something bold, decisive, or surprising that shifts everyone's attention. Machiavelli believed in correcting perception through action, not words. Think of some of today's most powerful public figures: business moguls, political leaders, athletes, the ones who endure despite scandals, criticism, or backlash, the ones who walk through fire and somehow come out bigger. They don't defend, they double down. When criticized, they lean harder into their identity. They go quiet, or they pivot into something even more audacious. They understand something most people never learn. If you master the art of not explaining, you master the attention of the room. And attention, like Machiavelli said in 1,000 Clever Ways, is the gateway to influence. Here are a few go-to tactics for flipping the power instantly when you're under fire. First, own the accusation, but rebrand it. If someone says, "You're aggressive," respond with, "Thank you. I consider it focus." Second, attack the motive, not the claim. If someone throws shade after your success, say, "Funny how this comes up right after I got the promotion." Third, stay silent. Let others debate the smoke while you stay above the fire. Mystery builds respect. Fourth, make a bigger move. Under pressure, announce a new project. Change the subject on your terms. And finally, laugh. It's disarming. It's unexpected. It signals that you're completely unbothered. Humans are wired to follow certainty. It makes us feel safe. It makes us trust. Defending yourself, ironically, makes you look uncertain. It implies shame. It implies insecurity. It gives weight to the accusation, sometimes more than the accuser even intended. But when you don't flinch, you project strength. People start to think, maybe there's more to this person than I thought. And more often than not, that one reaction shifts the power dynamic entirely. In the end, we don't follow the truth. We follow presence. This strategy isn't for people who want life to be fair. It's for people who want to win, who want to navigate the political, social, or corporate world without losing themselves to the approval of others. Machiavelli knew that perception is reality. And in his game, the person who defines the terms wins. So stop letting people corner you with questions designed to shrink you. Refuse to justify. Refuse to explain. And above all, never defend yourself. This approach isn't easy. It requires nerve, stillness, a stomach strong enough to sit through a little discomfort and still hold your ground. But once you master it, you'll feel it. The shift, the respect, the silence in the room, the way people stop pushing because they realize you're immovable. That's what Machiavelli would call power. And it starts the moment you stop defending and start leading.